we have a little extra space, so people will probably be arriving late, but I just gotta tell you guys, like, you guys rock, because, you know, one of the biggest things that limits us in life is fear, right? Like, we're watching the news, like, the storm of the century, the worst day ever, stay home, work at home, don't do anything, stay indoors. It's like we're gonna have like a nuclear explosion, and like the world's gonna end, right? And so one of the things that people have so many choices and opportunities to be able to grow and to be able to move forward, but we live these lives of fear, and what happens when we live our life based on fear, it shrinks. Our life slowly starts to shrink. We start becoming less, and we miss those opportunities. Like, you know, the person that says, "Oh, I wish I shoulda," or "I wish I coulda," and those moments are fleeting. And I look at it, and I just start looking in the media, and I start looking at like the crazy stuff that's out there. And like, I mean, everybody knows that when it's flu season, the first thing you're supposed to do is do what?
Get a flu shot.
Get a flu shot, right? And so, like, I don't know if you saw it, but they came out, they just did it again. If you get a flu shot this year, you have a less than a 50% chance of not getting the flu. That means, like last year, when you had a 66%, like that basically for every one person that didn't get the flu shot, I mean, that got the flu shot, they didn't get the flu, 2 people that didn't get the flu shot would get the flu. So that was their 50% savings there. Like, if think about, but now they said it's even less than that. It's less than a 1-to-1 chance. So you have more of a chance of not getting the flu now based on the new statistics by not getting the flu shot than actually getting it. Which is crazy, and that's the insanity of the world that we're living in right now. And so tonight, I really look at tonight as being kind of an important night, because there's a story of an elderly man, and he's laying in his bed. And as he's laying in his bed, he starts to look around, and he sees all these people, and they're surrounding him. And he thinks that these are his old friends coming to say goodbye. But what he realizes is that they said, "We're not your old friends. We're the dreams that you never fulfilled. We're the gifts that you never utilized, and we've actually come here to die with you." And I think that's such a huge thing, because we've all been given a race to win. We've all been given a purpose to be on this planet. And so when we are healthy, and when we have a plan, and when we know what's possible for us, then we can actually fulfill our dreams. We can actually use our gifts and our talents. And then it all comes back to one thing. It all comes back to legacy, right? See, the legacy that we leave is what we leave behind on this planet when we're gone. The legacy isn't about us, it's about future generations, right? The people that come behind us. Like, we're just going to come and go. And I remember I used to have a partner here, Dr. Cook, and one of the things I remember being at his funeral, he was 43 years old, and he died of cancer. And he left behind his wife, he left behind his child. But what he also did, when we were at the funeral, they said, he was a good man, and he'll be remembered because of this. He won't be remembered because of what he had. He will be remembered because of the things that he did. And those are the things that we leave behind. And so I think that really tonight it's about fighting the good fight, making sure that we run our race to win. We only get one opportunity to do this, and that's really what it's about. Like, if we're going to run it halfway, well, we're going to only meet our expectations halfway. So really tonight it's going to be about 3 things. It's going to be, if you're going to run a race, you got to have a strategy, right? Like, and we're going to be talking about the strategy. We're also going to be talking about the plan. We're also going to be talking about we're going to be talking about like personal responsibility there too. And I think that's really what the main thing for me I really want to hit on first is this. I was just adjusting a patient a few minutes ago, and he was telling me the story of he was meeting with he's a contractor, and he was meeting with the guy that lets contractors do what they do, like signs off on things. And he asked the guy how he's doing, and the guy started crying. And he said, my daughter she's 6 years old, and she was just diagnosed with leukemia. I had another person that has breast cancer, a friend of ours that has breast cancer, but it's her second time. And she, now it's in her lungs. It had gone away, and now it's in her lungs. I also had somebody come in with diabetes. My father-in-law has diabetes, and he's starting to lose his feeling in his hands and his feet. But I also have people that have overcome stage 4 cancer, right? I also have people that have overcome diabetes. We also have people here that have overcome depression. We have people that have overcome migraines. We have people that have done these things. And so I'm going to be really blunt, and this is an important thing. I'm going to be it's hard but blunt on this one. We get what we deserve, okay? We get what we deserve. And the reason why this is so important, it's such a harsh thing to say, but it's not. Because if you understand that we get what we deserve, then what happens is when we're sick, we realize that we deserve it, not that we wanted it, not that we were bad people, but we deserve it based on the choices. And whether you understand how you got there or not, there's a process that was in place that led you to that point. There was a process in place that led that little 6-year-old to have leukemia. Not that she's a bad person, not that she did something wrong in this life. Something had to happen for her to get there. And for those people that had stage 4 cancer and recovered, something had to happen. They deserved to recover from it. They did the things that needed to happen for them to recover from that. And that's a huge thing. And so when we realize that we get what we deserve, if we have a good relationship with our spouse, we get what we deserve because we put the time into it, right? Like if we have friendships, we get what we deserve because we put the time into building those relationships there. If you have a great staff, well, you just luck out. But we put a tremendous amount of time into paying attention and how to serve you the best way that we possibly can. And so if you could take anything away from tonight, it's about that right where I am in my life right now, I deserve exactly where I am. Now, if I don't like what I am and I want to deserve something different, it's about the action steps that I'm going to take to move from this point forward. Okay? And I think that is the biggest thing. If I can push that forward, if we're going to leave our legacy, we think that our children deserve more, if we think our families deserve more, then we have to do more so that they can have that. If we want to have a life that is full of energy, if we want to have a life that is full of health, because here's the thing, no matter where you are in your life right now, it's never too late. We were just talking about this earlier, like if your heart is beating, that means you're still alive. And one of the crazy things, I was talking to my team about this before we started shift today, and I said, if you have 2 people and you come upon an accident scene, and there's one dead person right here, and then there's one person who's alive, right? Like, who's going to make it? The person that has life, right? Who's the person that you can help? The person that's alive. So as long as we're alive, we can actually do something about it. And we can take that responsibility that I can make those changes. And so tonight's about making changes. Tonight's about making that shift to be able to understand the plan and the process there. So in your packets, what I have done is we've spent a lot of time putting this together for you. But I'm a firm believer, like I love sports, but I also like winning. And I believe that the day that you were born, a champion was born. Okay? The day that you were born, a champion was born. And it's other people that have told you you're anything but a champion. Like they've told you that you're no good at this. They told you that you're weak. They told you that you're sick. They told you that you don't have the ability to be healthy or to recover. They told you that it's okay to be depressed. They told you these things. And so every single time somebody told you something and you started to believe it, then you become a little bit less and a little bit less. And that's why we put together the championship war plan there. And really it has nothing to do with, being fantastic. It's about going from where you are to where you want to be. That's what our goal with this plan is here. And so it's about getting our dreams back. And so what I put down is there's 7 steps to goal setting, but really what we want to look at is a lot of times we start looking at, okay, I want one thing in my life, right? And most people, when do they make their plans during the year? They actually make them December 31st, many times when they're drunk, right? Right? They're drunk December 31st, and they're like, I'm going to do this, and they wake up and the first thing on Monday, the first day, and they have a hangover, they feel like horrible, and then they don't even exercise that first day. So we're starting our plan now to get it into motion so we know where we're going to be. And so really when we start looking at our lives, a lot of times we forget the different dimensions of our life. And so I wrote down all these different areas, whether it's your spirituality, your family, fitness, physical health, personal development, financial, your purpose, fun, trips, possessions, all those different things. And we really have to look at those things, because when we have an imbalance of those things, we have an imbalance in our life. Because we know that when our health goes down, all those other things suffer. When our fitness goes down, all those other things suffer. When our relationships go down, or even our finances go down, all those other things suffer. So we have to have a plan in place for each and every one of those so they can actually grow there. So, and what I did is I put together templates so that we can have literally 1, 3, and 5-year plans. And so the reason why I'm going more in depth with this, because in 1998, my wife and I actually sat down and did this. And we wrote down those plans, and we actually sealed them up in an envelope, and we put them in the safe, and we're going to look at them at the year end. Well, my daughter was also born that year, so I completely forgot about it. I was just in survival mode trying to get things done. But what was really cool is we were cleaning out the closet. That shows you how long it's been since we've cleaned the closet. But in there, we found the envelopes, and in those envelopes were our goals that we had set in 1998. And we had done every single thing that was on there. And we had accomplished every single thing that was on there, except a couple things. Like at that point, I thought that having a Porsche would be an important thing. Like I don't really care about a Porsche. But every single thing, personally and professionally, we had done. And so that's where the first step comes, is that it's easy for me to give you this. It's easy for me to say, fill it out. But it's hard to actually sit down and take the time to actually write these down. But this is your map. This is the beginning, the foundation of your war plan here. And so what we want to do is when we're looking at each of these areas, we got to create these big audacious visions of certain areas that we want to work on. We also want to create things like some action steps. We want to create the big vision of what we really want it to be. Because if you remember, we talked about our last class. We talked about our identity, right? How we see ourselves is how we are, right? If you see yourself as a happy, peaceful person, you're going to be a happy, peaceful person. If you see yourself as a sad, depressed, sick person, you're going to act accordingly, and you're going to do those things. If you see yourself as a goal-oriented person, that's how you're going to be doing it. You're going to be looking at your goals there. And so what we want to be able to do is we want to make sure we have our big, audacious vision there. Second thing is that we want to list out the why. And this is a big thing, because here's the thing. Do you know why I didn't get that Porsche? Because I didn't have a why behind it. Does that make sense? Like I just thought, well, I'll put a big, hairy, audacious goal of this Porsche, but like I got kids and I got to drive carpool, and you know what I mean? Like there is no why. Like if I needed it, I would have already had it. And so that's the biggest step that most people miss, is they have these goals, but they don't have that why behind it. And then, in our house, like behind the door in my office, we have our goal board. And it's just pictures and things, but it's got to be up in a place that you can see it, and a place that you can review it. Because I remember, Celeste, when on the front of your red packet, like she literally, like you remember when you first started her care, you got like a folder that had all your home care and everything like that. She has like literally written out her vision board on the front of her red folder. She still carries it to her appointments. But that's how that's what it takes, because it stays in front of her all the time there. And then developing the plan. We're going to be talking about the plan here in a second. And then we just got to get it to the ground level with a to-do list. And so what I really think is the biggest thing is that if we want to go somewhere, we got to find out where we are. Obviously, my personal opinion, and maybe you agree with me or not, is that the most valuable thing that we have is our health. That's the most valuable thing, because when you lose it, you can't buy it back, right? When you lose it, try being like having a great relationship when you have bad health. Try being like financially free when you're losing your health. Try doing anything else on that list when you're losing your health. And so what I did is I put down a list of things that are that I think are very important. And these are signals, these are signs, these are things that you want to pay attention to, and we want to be able to put this on an action plan. What's really important to me, and what I planned on doing, I'm actually kind of glad it's a smaller group, because anybody that fills this out, I'm going to work with you personally on it, okay? And we're going to work together to move the bar forward on these things. Because I asked my wife, she's like, what if nobody shows up tomorrow? And I'm like, look, if there's one person there, then that's the person I'm working with. You guys are the people I'm supposed to be working with on this. And so what we want to do is we want to find out where we are on these things, because there's always a plan for these things. Second thing is that I really want you to start looking at some key indicators. And this is something you're not going to do here, but you'll be able to do at home. But what we want to look at is as far as like, we can look at our date, our weight, our BMI, and our fat percentage. We have a scale in here. And what I want you to do is, one of the biggest things, I got a call from a lady, an email from a lady last Tuesday. And she's 2 years ago, I don't know if you remember, I was adjusting in a Santa costume. And which was really hot, by the way, so I don't know how he does it. But what ended up happening is what she told me was this. She said, 2 years ago I took a picture with you in your Santa Claus outfit, and you said this is your before picture. Because she was saying, because she was 5'4", 255 pounds. And so what she ended up doing is that we started working with her. She ended up moving about 6 months ago, but she started working really hard, and she got a very clear plan in place. And so she called. The reason why she sent me the email was because she had finally broken 100 pounds of weight loss.
Oh, wow.
So 2 years ago. So do the math on that. That's sometimes less than a pound a week. So if you step on a scale and you worked your butt off all week and you don't see any change, what do most people do?
Quit.
They quit, right? Right? Yeah, they have a piece of cake. They're like, this doesn't work. I'm not going to be doing it. But what happens is that every single day you're doing right things. You're moving the needle. Maybe sometimes you're not getting seeing the results in your life, but you're constantly moving forward in that particular direction. And that's what she did. Sometimes she lost less than a pound a week, but over the next 2 years, the time and energy that she put into it, it compounded, and she achieved her goal. So if we all say, wow, she lost 100 pounds. No, she lost a pound a week 100 times. And so that's the thing. We're not looking for home runs right now. We're looking for base hits. And I want you to get that as far as a mentality that right now as we move forward, we're looking for base hits. This whole sheet right here is, I want you to get an idea of where your health is as we start moving it forward. One of the things that we're going to do is we're going to have you fill out what's called LRQ, which will allow us to, it's a lifestyle risk questionnaire. We'll set up a BNR with you, like a basic nutrition review after this, after you fill that out. We'll see where you are in your nutrition, see where some of your holes in your nutrition are there for you, and we'll help you form a plan there. We want to be able to get you involved in Surge and start getting out to your Surge twice a week. The other couple days you can do yourself, but we'll teach you how to do that. We want to see where the holes in your plan is and help you refine that plan, because we want to look at, over the next 4 weeks, some of the changes that we have. We want to look at not just weight, but we want to look at BMI, because your BMI, your basal metabolic index, is a key indicator for how long you're going to live. And here's the thing, I just want to let you guys know that life is a terminal condition, right? I mean, we're all going to die. That's just one of the facts of life. And it doesn't matter. But the problem is most people get older, they get older and sicker. Just because we're getting older doesn't mean we have to get sicker. We can get healthier as we get older. And that's it's an important concept to understand is that how we're moving that needle there. And so this measuring your key health indicators. This is going to be a big one. Every week, come in, and we'll show you how to use the scale in there that will actually allow you to mark it down, so you can actually see some of the changes. And then what I did is I put together just your workbook. Okay. It's your 1 year goal. You're starting with spiritual, and I don't know what your faith is. That's not my job. But everybody has to believe in something, right? And so whether it's your spiritual, where you are spiritually is just to have peace in your life, right? Okay, that's fine. Start right there. So one of my 1 year goals is that how I see myself is to have peace in my life. And then your 5 year goals, what's that going to look like? And start building it out, because then you get to build a story, and that's the beautiful thing. We get to all write a story of our own life. But most of the times we just let somebody else write that story for us. We can be the creators of what our story looks like. We can be the creators of what that movie looks like. And so as we go through here, fill these things out. And I'd love to sit down with you. If you don't want to show them to me, that's fine. But what I want to be able to do is support you in any way that I can in these. Hold on. There's a whole bunch of pages right here. So it looks like you guys got some homework. So it looks like nobody's going to watch The Voice tonight. Okay? Because that's not going to move the needle. That's the anti moving the needle thing.
What's The Voice?
Oh, it's a dumb show on TV. Okay. People love it. But and so what really, here's the thing: is that what I want you to understand is when we talk about our plan, it's really is a plan. How do we do things? And I actually wrote out. Where did it go? There it is. My plan didn't work there. And a lot of times we call it a war plan, okay? And a lot of people are like, war? Like, what do you mean we're at war? Like, and I think this is an important thing. And there was a quote, and it's by a guy named Coach Bill McCartney. He founded something called Promise Keepers, okay?
Oh, yeah.
And he founded something called Promise Keepers, and he said, man, you've been in a war, but you have not been at war. And just think about this. We don't realize that we're in a war right now. We're in a war fighting for our lives. We're fighting for our families. Like, the life expectancy is going down. The quality of life is going down. More people are going bankrupt from healthcare conditions than at any other time in our history. More families are getting fractured. More people are on antidepressants. Right now, we have 75 million people in the United States. Almost a third of the people in the United States that either have diabetes or are going to have diabetes. They are pre-diabetic at this time.
Right.
You know, we have cancer rates skyrocketing. The number one leading cause of death for children right now is cancer. That's the most crazy thing besides accidents. Like, that's not the plan. And so a lot of times when we get comfortable, right? And that's when, when they talked about in World War II how Hitler was able to make his way and to be able to do things, that he actually made people comfortable and made them feel that things were okay. And so what Coach Bill said is, he said, but we're not retreating. We're calling the men of God of this nation who live and stand by to stand up. We need to create strongholds, right? And in a war, you need to create bunkers. You need to create places where it's safe places, and that's what this place is right here. It's a stronghold here, but you also need to create strongholds in your families. You need to create strongholds in your work. You need to create strongholds of people that you're going to be around, so that they're not going to break you down, because sometimes there's a battle that occurs with the people that you talk to on a daily basis, and they're either building you up or they're breaking you down. And so just remember, the reason why we call it a war plan is that you're in a daily war fighting against the manifestations of a world system that is opposed to you being who you were created to be. Things like disease and debt and emotional turmoil and weight gain and shrinking muscles and divorce and failed relationships. If you're a parent, you're also fighting against all the enemies of your children that they would face on the block in their health and in their future. And so that's why we created a war plan, because it's our plan that we're at war to protect something fiercely, and that's our legacy, okay? And so when we look at our war plan, it's this. And I put together a sample of mine. Hold on. It's the last page in your in your plan right here, okay? And it's a weekly war plan, and it's something that I've done for forever there. And really what happens is that when we look at our goals, we got to write down to-do lists. And one of the things that's really challenging about to-do lists is this. To-do lists are usually task lists, okay? They're task lists that stress us out. And many times the to-do list gets so long that what we end up doing is sometimes we lose it. And if you ever lost a to-do list and you find it like 6 months later, and like most of the stuff doesn't really matter in the first place, right? It's just busy work. Like, I don't know about you, at one time I was keeping all my to-dos on my iPhone, and then like I started setting these reminders, and it kept on popping up, and I finally just started deleting them. Like, that wasn't really important, that wasn't really important, that wasn't really important. But I had like 35 things on there. And so one of the things that I suggest to you, when we start looking at our to-dos, we change them to be's, okay? Because that's what the vision is of who we want to be. That's the goals of, like, when we're putting these visions down, is not the things that we need to do, but who we're trying to be. And so our to-dos or our to-be's, that to-be list is the things that we take from our goals on a daily basis. And what happens is that if we don't write something down, the worst thing that we can do for our lives is what we call memory management, right? Like, okay, I'm gonna exercise 3 times a week, and I'm gonna try to keep it all on my mind. I'm gonna make sure I call this person, but I'm gonna try to keep it in my mind. And then all of a sudden your mind gets so clouded with all these things that you're having to do on a daily basis that you get overwhelmed, and the things just start dropping by the wayside. And now we've become so ineffective at living our lives that we're stressed out. And next thing you know, like like one of the things with stress is we just burn out, right? And so the first thing that we need to do is start creating our to-do list. And most times they're not a list, because if you don't have a time and a date that you're going to do it, then it doesn't get done. And then all of us, so for what I have right here, you'll see like this is my basic one, and this is kind of what my life looks like there. And so when I have my to-dos, like you don't see me like making phone calls during my adjusting time. Okay, it doesn't happen. Like, so I'm not going to put like that. But if I need to make a phone call, I'm going to have to find a time to right here after 1 o'clock. I have an hour right there and my lunchtime where I'm going to do things there. And so I'll schedule my to-dos during that time. And so most of your schedules might not look as like 7 in the morning to 7 at night like mine. But you'll start to find those open areas is where you'll start scheduling in. And then what will happen is that somebody will say, hey, I want to get together with you, and it's really important. But you already have all these, like, it happens all the time on my date time. People are like, hey, I need to have a phone call with you. And I'm like, no. Or if I really do need to take that call, I'm going to take my date time, and I'm going to move it to a different time there. Okay, because all of these things that are on there are based on my purposes, like the things that are on this first page. Because what I schedule every day, every week into my schedule, I schedule my spiritual time, and you'll see it on there. I schedule my family time, my date time with my kids. I actually schedule something I schedule my fitness on there. I schedule my things for health improvement. Like you'll even see on the page before this, this is what my weekly schedule looks like here. You'll see I actually have this is something that I use for myself. I call it my refrigerator page. So like I like to like check off on things, but I don't like memory management. Did I do it today or did I not? And so what I'll do is, you can see right here.
From what I understand from my Muslim friends is that you are at war with yourself, basically. And you are constantly battling yourself. And that is the main focus, supposedly, of jihad. Is not, out there. It's in here.
Well, and that's so true. It reminds me of, do you guys remember the Christmas Story?
Yeah.
Right? With like Scrooge and everything like that?
Christmas Carol?
Christmas Carol. Is that whatever? I don't even remember what it was, but I always thought, why would they call him Ebenezer Scrooge? Right? What? That doesn't make any sense. Until I read about the Ebenezer stone. Like, so in the Bible, like Ebenezer is something of great price. It's something of great value. And so you have this man who literally was a Scrooge of something of great value was who he was. And when I finally figured that out, we want to find out if we're going to be Ebenezer Scrooges there too, right? If we're going to take something of great value and great price and actually just hide it away and lock it away there. And I think that's where that battle comes in. That you have the Ghost of Christmas Past, the Ghost of Christmas Future, and the Ghost of Christmas Present. And it really, when we get to see those choices, and that's really what I always try is where we were, where we are, and today's about where we want to be. And if we don't like where we want to, the direction that we're going in, that's the challenge that we're going to have there. So, Dr. No?
So this was hard for me. At 22 years old, I started chiropractic school, and that's when I learned about the 5 essentials in my first quarter of school. So now imagine, coming right out of undergrad in high school, living complete opposite of 5 essentials, absolute opposite. Minus working out a few times here and there. But it's learning about this and applying it to my life at an early age. That was the biggest thing because it allowed me to get my parents involved, allowed me to get other people involved. And so many people think, and it's funny because I'll talk to like my grandpa, and he is like 70s, 80s, and he's like, oh, it's too late for me to do that. You started very young, that's why you're successful at it. And I'm like, no. That's the only success comes out of is the effort that you put for the next day, okay? Because there's nothing in the past that you can change. So we always like to say, if you're living in depression, you're living in the past. If you're living in anxiety, you're living in the future. But what you should be living for is this moment, every single day. Like today is the day that you're focusing on. So it's storming out there. We were, like we were talking. We're like, okay, I wonder if anybody's even going to show up tonight. But you guys are here. You know why? Because something about today, something about you guys wanting to change your life, allowed you to be in this room here today. So all the essentials, that's exactly what it is, and that's what I slowly learned going through school. Half of the profession in school in chiropractic, they think that this is the only thing you need. Is this the most important? Absolutely. Your nervous system has to be functioning properly. But there's a big group of people who leave out these other 4 essentials as well. So it's exactly what it is. They're essential to your life. They're not something that you decide, I can still be well without it. Can you be good? Yeah. Can you be great? Probably not. Can you be at your utmost God-given potential? Absolutely not. Just because they're absolutely essential for your health, you need every single one of them. And the good news about being in Maximized Living, and the reason why I knew from day one of chiropractic school when I saw Maximized Living that I wanted to be a Maximized Living doctor, was that they give you the resources. We've put together so much time, energy, effort to make sure that the resources are here for you guys. So when you guys come to a class like this, you walk away with something tangible. Like every single resource we have out there, it's the 5 essentials. Like the cruise ship and nursing home book. I love it because, coming in here, I get to do most of the patient education stuff. And that's where the bread and butter lies, and that's where I've loved it. And at the same time, it's like I want to hit myself over the head and sometimes body slam you guys. That's it. No, not you guys personally. But some people, because it's like we give you the 5 essential starter kit when you first start care, and it does no good collecting dust on your shelf. Nothing. When you take it out, when you start applying it, when you start making little changes every single day, that's when you're going to start implementing those things in your lives. And it's a slow, I guarantee you, because even for me, like I've lived it for the last couple of years and in a Maximized Living doctor, but I'm still making changes as I progress on. So it's something that it's not going to come overnight. Absolutely not. But the more classes you show up to, like whoever was at the last talk, I was talking about Kobe Bryant. Every single year goes to that rookie camp because he learns something new. Same thing, every single class you guys come to, for the rest of your lives, you will learn something new. Every class I come to and sit here and I learn something new, or just get a little bit more passion or something more that'll get me going towards that right direction. So really, essential 1 is where it starts. It's all about the mindset. It's all about knowing what controls health. It's all about knowing that it's in your hands. So like what Dr. Osborne was saying, and we've really been focusing on this, is that, you get what you deserve. Because 99% of the time, what's going on in your life is exactly what you've done at that point to get there. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. Whatever you have in your life at that moment, you deserve it. Whatever you don't have in your life, you deserve it. Whatever you want in your life, you better go and get it. Because if you want it and you truly deserve it, your body, you'll do what it takes. So I remember today was very special. Being one of my last days, we have a patient who, has just gone through the world. Mid-20s, barely entering 30, and it's just about that time where he's kind of like giving up hope. And I remember asking him, like, how you feeling? And he's just like, I'm tired. I'm tired, and I just don't know what to do right now. And I remember at that moment right now, it's like, okay, this is, every time is a Maximind moment. So every time Dr. Osborne is speaking, every time he speaks to us, every day I get a Maximind moment, luckily. So just letting him know that, you know what, everything that you've put up in the past, everything that you've done, what shame would it be if you just gave up right now? So the difference between, I was telling him about this, it's this thing called the Spontaneous Remissions Project, where you got people who, the difference between someone sitting there with cancer, 2 people sitting there, one makes it, one doesn't. What's the difference between them? They're on the same treatment, they're doing the same things, no one has anything better than the other person, but one person is every single day in their mind, because it's right here. This is where most of us have a hard time. It's between our heads. We can do the other things, but if we're not truly believing in our hearts that we can succeed and we can do it, then there's no chance at ever succeeding. So the difference is one person truly believes he's going to get out of it. One person truly believes that they're going to wake up one day cancer-free. Versus, like for example, the patient, he's labeled himself with so many diagnoses that that's who he's become. It's I have this, and this, and this isn't me, these are what are me, all these conditions. So the minute he starts letting that go, and just letting him know that, every single day you're moving forward. So next year, guess what? You're putting this year in the past. It's been a rough year, but guess what? In your head, you have to believe that you're going to get through this. You have to believe you're going to get through this. And always bringing them back to right here, essential to this is the bread and butter of everything. And we were talking about this story this morning. And it's so true though, and it's little analogies like this where you have to understand just how amazing and perfect you guys were, all of us are, because we were born perfect, you know, like coming out, oh man, it was just, you know, like we were talking about Vanessa. I always look at Vanessa every day and I just look at her differently, because I'm like looking at her tummy and I'm just like, what's going on in there right now? She's not here right now, but I'm I'm analyzing her. I'm just like, what is going on in here right now? There is a human being created in there perfectly. Like, I don't know if you guys know this. It was fascinating when I found this out in one of my classes. Like, you know, a baby is being born. Its fingers and hands come like within the first month of life. But guess what? Do you know when the fingernails don't actually start growing until almost right before birth? Like you would think, like if we are perfect, like that's the definition, that perfection that all of us have. The fingers are created, but the actual fingernails don't start growing till right before birth, because what? If the fingernails grow, guess what the baby can do? Pop that sack, you know, or cause damage inside the body. So the body knows that. Like, it's so amazing that it knows exactly what to do, when to do it at the right time. But we've just gone and just put so much interference in our lives these days that's why the 5 essentials are so important. That's why you need every single one of them. Like, you can't just go on a day getting adjusted and not working out and not removing the toxins and not eating right and expect your body to heal at 100%. So one of the biggest things that I've overcome or had to do, and thank goodness it was a great experience in my clinic where I was at last, in a student clinic at school. You know, I had a patient come in and, you know, had terrible neck pain, had numbness down the whole arm. His left arm was numb for like at least 6 months before that. But taking an x-ray of him, and the only way we know if you have subluxation, remember, is we take that x-ray, because from the outside, looked pretty healthy, he's working out, he's a good guy, but he's got so much degeneration and so much stuff going on in the spine that nerve flow cannot get there. That brain cannot send its message down that spinal cord out to its arm to heal that area. There's interference there. And he had to understand that. And patients here, and again, I get to do the re-evals, so I'm in wellness evals, and the biggest thing sometimes people say is that, you know what, like, I'm not getting better. And you know, we have to bring them back to day one. Like, the first day you ever walked in here to today, are you any better? Well, yeah, well, okay. So you are getting better. You have to understand that, because things don't happen overnight. I wish they could, but the patient that I was talking to earlier, he's had a 28 years of a destructive lifestyle, and he's 20 visits in. Like, I wish it was that simple. Is he better? Yeah, he absolutely is. Does he still have a lot of interference to remove? Yes, absolutely. But what happens is that it's all what he puts into it, and if he quits now, guess what? It was all for nothing. So this patient I had came in, started adjusting him. First couple adjustments, couldn't get anything to move. But, you know, you go out with that confidence, like, you know what, like I know I put that right force in. I know it's where his spine needs to be. I know this is what had to happen. So you give him that confidence. 1 month later, no symptom improvement. 2 months later, no symptom improvement. 3 months later, you know, I had a day where I actually felt a little bit better. And I'm like, oh, okay. Like, am I nervous inside? I'm like, kind of. But I always go back to this, is that if we're moving things in the right direction and we're moving interference, his body will heal. And I'm telling him every single day, you know what? You plant a tree outside, does the next day, is that tree up and ready to go? No, absolutely. Decades and decades and decades. How long does a tree take to grow? Decades, you know? 20 years later, that tree's at its full form. When his body's going to heal, I have no idea. I'm just sitting here with the confidence, knowing that as I move things in the right direction, as I get him implementing the 5 essentials, I know things are going to start healing. 4 months, nothing. 5 months, nothing. I'm still telling him every single day, your body's healing, because I don't know when your body's going to heal. 6 months, a little bit. 7 months, oh, okay, here we go. 8 months later, finally, after 8 months under care, his numbness and tingling barely, like, you know, 3 days a week. So to him, that meant the world. But you guys understand that the body takes time to heal. It takes time to heal, and that's why Essential 2 is amazing, because remember, like, in hearing little things like that, like, you know, you got a dead person, you got one person who's got 1% life. He's barely breathing, they have him on a respirator, he's being fueled through all these machines and all that. But who has that better chance to live? Is that one person who's still alive. So I want to ask you guys something, and this was what I was asked, and this was, you know, it's almost like, it's not a trick question, but does the body heal itself?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does the body heal itself? Everybody?
Yes.
Yes.
Every single person except for the one who knows the answer answered right. The body heals itself. Okay, so how come when you bring in a cadaver or you got a dead body right there, how come that body doesn't heal? How come it doesn't heal itself? It doesn't. Because remember, there's a power inside of you that heals your body. Your body doesn't heal itself. That power that you were born with, that power that each and every single one of you have inside, that power that you want to be flowing at 100%, that you guys are putting in all this work so it's flowing at 100%, that's what keeps you alive. Because every single second of the day, that power is flowing from your brain down the spinal cord, out those nerves, to every cell, tissue, organ in your body. And I can say that a million times, and I say it every single day, yet it doesn't become any less significant to me. Because that is so amazing, that every single minute, and I have this book real quick, I just want to read one passage here quickly, and I'm going to end. But this is the parts where we don't think about. I mean, we most of us take this power for granted, and most of us don't even know about this power, and that's why this is the greatest job in the world, and that's why, like, adjusting is fun, and Dr. Osborne, like I love you for adjusting all that, but I would, if I could, and like you, when you're done, I love being back here. I love seeing someone like Celeste come in. I love seeing the new patients like Betancourt's come in who came in on my time over here while I've been here. And being able to teach them this principle and being able to show them exactly what their bodies are capable of. And, you know, each and every one of them have certain things that have improved in their life. But it's the fact that they know this, and it's the fact that they now have this. It's in your hands now. You get that? Is that when you start believing that you control everything, that you control your outcomes, that's when life becomes great, because you know whatever you put in, whatever you do, is what your body is capable of. You know, all you have to do is apply these. These are here in front of you, you guys. What you choose to do with them is going to determine your guys' outcome. So, like, you know, my Wednesday Surge group that I got to run for the last couple months, I mean, that's amazing. Like, we're out here, we're having fun, we're surging, we're moving around. Like, you have to get that fresh oxygen inside your body. That's so amazing, because each and every time you're doing that, what are you doing? You're improving your health. You're giving your body a better chance to fight disease. So the essentials are there because they are absolutely essential. But, I mean, coming back to this really quickly, so just listen to this, just think about this. So the heart works through 60,000 miles of blood vessels in a child's body and close to 100,000 miles in an adult's. The average heart pumps 2.4 ounces or 70 milliliters per heartbeat. Therefore, at an average heartbeat of 72 beats per minute, most more, some less, a typical heart pumps 1.3 gallons or 5 liters per minute. 1,900 gallons per day, nearly 700,000 gallons per year, and 48 million gallons by the time someone is 70 years old. The average heart beats over 100,000 times a day, which is almost 38 million times in a year. So by the time you're 70 years old, this little 10-ounce muscle in your body has beat over 2.5 billion times. So could any man in the world ever construct something this infinitely amazing? Could you maintain it and keep it running? Imagine if every single day you had to remember to tell your heart to beat 38 million times in a year. Imagine if you had to tell your heart every single day. Imagine if you had to wake up in the middle of the night while you're sleeping to remind your lungs to breathe air, to remind your cells to replicate, imagine your body to heal. You could ask that same question for every single organ. Your kidneys are only 12 centimeters by 5 centimeters, yet they regulate the concentration of most of the elements found in the body fluids, filtering an ounce of fluid every minute, which adds up to 48 gallons a day. The liver performs literally hundreds of different functions, and you never have to think about them once. And so on throughout every part of your body. So remove your heart, remove any one of these organs, they're dead. You can't do anything to them. Okay? It's like unplugging a lamp. Organs have to be plugged in so they can be constructed, and they have to stay plugged in so the power can keep them running and allow them to express life. That's exactly what it's about. It's about expression. Okay? Dis-ease in chiropractic, I mean, we look at it like a complete different philosophy than medical doctors. You know, dis-ease is just when your body does not have what it needs. It has a lack of coordination, a lack of adaptation for your body to actually heal. Because remember, and this is the mind shift and the function that we're always trying to put into people, that health is not how you feel, health is all about how you function. Okay? And if you remember every single day that the brain and spinal cord control the function and regulate every single thing in your body, you realize just what you do to your life when you're in this office. that every single year, every day, every time you are getting adjusted, you're putting life back into your body and you're creating a future that's going to be sustainable for all of you guys. The biggest thing is that everybody needs to know this, and that's why, like, you know, Freddie, just we put it to you that every single event he's out there just, I mean, we're talking about it right now, he's out in front right now trying to gather someone next door, trying to get people there just to listen to this message, because if they heard this, if you heard this message today, guess what? You know more about health than most people in America now, yet you know that the power is in your own hands. So, you know, guys, whoever I've had to impact in this office, most of you guys, all of you guys have impacted me in a way that you guys will never be able to understand. All of you guys will be a part of what I get to do in the future. So all the lives I save start here with you guys. But everything you show up to, oh man, I can't tell you how much that motivates me. And I know for a fact, because I talk in the back with Doc, well, you know, why he keeps going every single day, every single year, and will do for the rest of his life, because you guys give us the energy to do this. So, I mean, look around. You guys showed up here on a rainy night. But continue showing up. Continue to play big. The resources are there. You guys have it all in your hands. Just take advantage of it. Start implementing them slowly but surely, and just make this year, the next year, the best life of your year, of your life, best year of your life. And then every single year after, you just continually improve and think about that. So next time I'm here, I will definitely come and visit at a workshop or something.